Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles. The Green Bay Packers handle the Chicago Bears on Sunday Night Football. You can smack me right in the face about my concern, saying, maybe we were giving too much carte blanche to the Packers' Week 1 failure this season just because they had a Week 1 failure last season and bounced back. Well, it looks like they're bouncing back again. Though I did pick the Packers to cover the 10 points against the Bears. So successfully hedged. Green Bay, it was a running game success here today. Green Bay is turning into run the ball and defense, and they just so happen to have a 2-time MVP quarterback when they need him. Week 1 is a distant memory again. We're in week 2 and we're saying, the Packers are fine. History just repeats itself. Aaron Rodgers gets his 24th victory over the Chicago Bears. Brett Favre had 23. So Rodgers has now officially defeated the Bears more than Brett Favre. And Brett Favre defeated them 23 times. I'm so sorry, Bears fans. I mean, it's literally ingrained in your culture now to be losing to the Packers Hall of Fame quarterbacks. It's been 31 years. I mean, there are people as old as me who are thinking this is just how it is. The Bears lose to their Hall of Fame divisional rival. Aaron Jones deserves a shout out here. Fantastic game. He looked strong, fast, fabulous. I just love how they use him with A.J. Dillon, both in the run game, both in the pass game. The Packers had a couple guys back that seemed to make a difference. Right tackle Elton Jenkins, receiver Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb was all over the place. The Packers defense, too, got a bounce-back game. Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Kenny Clark all played well. And I say bounce-back game, but remember, I keep saying this. The Vikings scored 23 points. A lot of Justin Jefferson highlights. They scored 23 points. I mean, that's got to be like bottom half points in terms of most games. Most games, teams are scoring more than 23. But I think the Packers defense will gel. It's just not playing the elite unit. And I say that just because the Bears were able to run pretty well. The Bears, they flirted with being in this game. They almost brought it into one score in the middle of the fourth quarter, just an inch away on a fourth and 1 at the goal line there. The Bears had the lead at first. David Montgomery, Justin Fields, they responded to the Green Bay opening drive with a touchdown drive, and they were leading 7-3 about midway or a little bit well into the first quarter. And I thought to myself, good for the Bears. Good for the Bears. They won last week. Now they've gone a whole quarter, in prime time against the Packers, without the hopeless void. This season's going to be hard for the Bears, and they've started it off pretty strong. I haven't felt that hopeless void that they're going to feel. The less time in the hopeless void, the better. And I thought Tirico and Collinsworth were telling the right story, which is Justin Fields out of the shotgun. Just can't be doing that. They need to get this play action thing going with David Montgomery and Fields, who's great at rollouts. Just weird that they were in the shotgun so much. I thought that was the right story of the game because every time they went back to the run game, the Bears looked good. And then Packers kind of pulled away with it. Bears had a drive at the end, which was nerve-wracking for those of us who had Packers to cover the 10 on the 10-point spread, and Jair Alexander with that final interception. Jubilation in Green Bay. They've won. Jubilations in the casino. They have covered. The Packers have covered. All right. Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. The show is football, everything. NFL history, legacy, ups and downs of the season. Follow us on Twitter at MUK_football. On Twitter at MUK_football. We're also on YouTube and podcast form. Apple, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you get your podcasts. We have shows Sunday after Sunday Night Football. Monday after Monday Night Football, and Thursday after Thursday Night Football. 3 shows a week. All right, let's get into this week 2. The comeback week. Welcome to Comeback City. Incredible, crazy, wild games. Week 1 was crazy. Week 2 has joined the chat. The Arizona Cardinals down 20-0. They eventually ended up winning a wild overtime game in the Vegas Raiders Death Star. The Dolphins were down 21 to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the fourth quarter. They won the game. And the Browns had a 99% win probability, and they blew it to the Jets. Unbelievable. There was almost more comebacks. The Falcons almost had a comeback, and the Bengals, the Commanders, they were also completing or looking to complete comebacks versus the Lions and Cowboys, and ultimately fell. But point is, a lot of exciting football being played. Red Zone is exhausting the last 2 weeks. I'm just exhausted by the time Sunday Night Football. Thank God both Sunday Night Football games have been kind of blowouts. And I didn't think I'd be saying that. All right, let's get into our Sunday show. The format is 6 categories of the Sunday best: quarterback, running back, receiver, defense, play of the day, meme of the day. And let's start with quarterback. The Dolphins quarterback, the lefty, Tua Tagovailoa, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns on 50 attempts as part of that 21-point comeback. The Dolphins were losing 35-14 with, it was like 13 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they won. They beat the Ravens, admittedly battered secondary, 42-38. And I said twice last week, we are all holding off the coronation of the sexy Dolphins offense. I said that multiple times. Well, now, clearly, get out the robes, get out the regalia, get out the anointing oils. It is time. Tua to Waddle, Tua to Tyreek Hill. Actually, the beginning of this game, I was tweeting about, it feels like the Dolphins are fueling up the fear for Waddle. The league already fears Tyreek Hill, but Waddle's, cred was being built last game and early this game, just pounding and peppering Waddle. Once Baltimore had to truly invest in stopping Waddle, then the other engine clicks in. The twin engine clicks in. Tyreek Hill one-on-one, and he frankly just burned some flat-footed Ravens DBs. And Tua, he did his best to get the ball down there. It didn't look good, to be honest. It's not pretty. This is not Justin Herbert style darts. Tyreek Hill's 48-yard touchdown, his 60-yard touchdown, they were crucial. That's what got the Dolphins within 14 and then within 7. Didn't look great, though. I know we're talking about Tua as the quarterback of the week, the Sunday best, but still, it ends with Tyreek Hill, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, both of them with 11 catches. I mean, was it this simple? Just get 2 really good, really fast wide receivers? We were all hesitant to coronate, but I guess it's just that easy. I guess it's just that easy. 361 yards and 4 touchdowns between these 2 great wide receivers. And Tua, more the benefactor than anything. I think Tua played great. He's got great accuracy. He hit a lot of balls on the run, but more the benefactor of this Mike McDaniel system. By the way, announcers, it's Mike McDaniel, not McDonald. Why does every announcer keep making that mistake? Side note, if not for this comeback, the quarterback Sunday best of the day clearly would have been Lamar Jackson, who actually still technically had a better fantasy day than Tua because Tua had a couple interceptions. Lamar Jackson was 318 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 118 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. I think this is setting up for a great Lamar Jackson fantasy year because the Ravens cannot run with their running backs, and their secondary, they're going to need some help. So Tua Tagovailoa, a career day, a day that hopefully is the start of something great in Miami because this is really fun to watch. All right, running back Sunday best. I'm going to keep this one with the Sunday night game. Aaron Jones, for all the reasons I said at the start of the show. Aaron Rodgers played great, played calm, but the running game made things a lot easier today. 179 total yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, the better, faster one of that duo. Though I do credit A.J. Dillon. They're just kind of sharing the load and hopefully will keep each other fresh throughout the year. Dallas running back Tony Pollard deserves a shout out. He made some big plays that the Cowboys and Cooper Rush needed. And Nick Chubb had the best fantasy day by far. 113 total yards, 3 touchdowns, but marred by the fact that third touchdown maybe shouldn't have existed. I know it's not actually Chubb's fault, but had he gone down instead of scoring that third touchdown, the Browns could have just kneeled the game out. Instead, this wild comeback happened. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that went wrong after that. And before that, by the way, Kareem Hunt went out of bounds twice, stopping the clock directly before that. But, I just couldn't give it to him. I just couldn't give him the Sunday best in that circumstance. All right, wide receiver Sunday best, the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions, 184 scrimmage yards. Yes, Hill and Waddle had better statistical days, but St. Brown, first of all, he's becoming a star. He brought something special to the Lions today. There's just a tempo of productive, crisp plays. He just 8 catches, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 58-yard rushing end around, and he just kept it coming. And difficult to keep it coming because 1 out of every 2 balls you get from Jared Goff are, thrown to the freaking bleachers. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is able to just be consistently good enough to really put off the Commanders' comeback. The Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin and the Commanders really did enough. The Washington football team, whatever we're calling them, did enough to beat the Lions in this game. The difference between this and all other Lions games was Amon-Ra St. Brown kept making plays. DeAndre Swift kept making plays. And St. Brown's were the 2 crucial ones. That 58 end around came after the Commanders brought it within 8 points. St. Brown was at 58 yards, sets up a Swift touchdown. And then the Commanders again brought it within 8 points. And that's when St. Brown got his second touchdown of the day. A sweet little pylon move there. Narratively, I think this was just more important to the Lions than even the win. This win was so important. It was critical. The Lions absolutely could not drop to 0-2. As Dan Campbell said last week, and I really respect him for this, there are no moral victories anymore. They needed an actual victory, and they did it. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, in my opinion, was the primary reason that they got it. Though, special shout out to DeAndre Swift as well, who was making plays. Jamal Williams, a lot of guys making plays. Goff had 4 touchdowns, but he didn't play well, in my opinion. But the weapons there's some excitement happening in Detroit. All right, Sunday best defense. I was close to giving this one to the Lions as well. Aiden Hutchinson had three sacks, but ultimately they really did. The defense did enough to lose the game. They gave up 27 second half points, and it was St. Brown who saved them. So my defense, Sunday best, instead of the Lions, is going to be the Jaguars. Again, these are the 2 teams with the first and second pick in the draft this year. But the Jaguars defense, Sunday best, the first shutout of 2022. Credit to the 49ers defense, who also pitched a shutout against the Seahawks because the Seahawks' 1 touchdown was a blocked field goal touchdown. So technically, the 49ers defense also shut out Geno Smith and the incompetent Pete Carroll Seahawks. We'll let that go for now. But the Jaguars actually shut out Matt Ryan and the Colts in Duval County down there in Florida. Jacksonville, Josh Allen rushing the passer. The first overall pick, Trayvon Walker making plays. Safety, Rashawn Jenkins looking like he's having a great year. And yeah, the Colts didn't have their top wide receivers, but still 0 points. They still had Jonathan Taylor, still had their offensive line, pieces there. Matt Ryan is there. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was a bystander. There was like a truck stick play that I'm sure will be shown in slow motion highlights out of context. It should have a watermark. As when people show Jonathan Taylor shoving that Jaguar back down on his back, there should be a watermark that says Colts were shut out in this game. They got 0 points. The Jaguars defense was flying all over the place. They seem to have the Colts number. I'd love to see them get someone else's number this season. I think something's happening there. Something's happening. Maybe they won't have the first overall pick this year. Okay. Sunday best play of the day. All right. How to pick a play of the day out of these comebacks by the Cardinals, by the Dolphins, by the Jets, the almost comebacks by the Falcons, and just all the holdoffs by the Lions and the Cowboys today. These huge, complex sequences that needed to happen for these wild games. How to pick a play of the day was extremely difficult. The Jets obviously deserve a lot of consideration. The Joe Flacco 15-yard touchdown to Garrett Wilson to win. The Corey Davis 60-yard touchdown was a blown coverage by the Browns, but it was significant. The onside kick. And, of course, the Dolphins, there's 5 or 6 huge touchdowns, 2 to Hill, 2 to Waddle. And then Ramsey, sealing the game against the Falcons for the Rams. But I'm gonna focus on the Cardinals-Raiders game because it had just some crazy, crazy plays. The Kyler Murray 2-point conversion. Not the one where he stood back there for 20 seconds. Not that one, but the final one with the stunning dart just through a sea of Raider hands to an AJ Green, almost obscured from sight on the back end of the end zone there. Great play, great throw. I don't know that AJ Green actually caught it. Like AJ Green couldn't catch anything all day, but there wasn't enough evidence. Then in overtime, I thought I was going to be giving play of the day to Deron Harmon, who, for the Raiders, safety for the Raiders, who made a great stop on 3rd and 1, tackling, I believe it was James Conner, forcing a 4th and 1. Kyler Murray goes deep, and Deron Harmon is deep as well. Just as he was up on line of scrimmage, he's deep as well to knock the ball right, just hit Hollywood Brown into an incomplete pass. Raiders get the ball. You're thinking, okay, all the Raiders need is a field goal here. They're driving. Derek Carr hits what seems like a routine play to Hunter Renfrow. Looks like they're about in field goal range. Fumble forced by Isaiah Simmons. Byron Murphy picks it up, returns it for a touchdown to a stunned Raiders Death Star. And though I don't actually believe that he scored that touchdown, I truly think he let go of that ball before he crossed the goal line. But the spirit of the game and the spirit of play is over. He fumbled. He returned it for a touchdown. Technicalities, I would have been pissed if it turned out that they took that away from him. But check it out. I don't know. That is the play of the day. Murphy's return, wild ending for the Cardinals to avoid 0-2 and send the Raiders to 0-2. Now let's get to my favorite category. Meme of the day. Well, first, quick shout out to the Denver fans at the Mile High Stadium counting down the play clock for Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson, who just could not get plays off. I shout you out, Denver fans, for a rare feat of a collective crowd sarcasm on a football field. I just absolutely love that. The meme of the day is Brownie the Elf, though. The new midfield logo for Cleveland, which goes back to Otto Graham, Marion Motley, there for Jim Brown's 57, 58 MVPs, removed in the 60s. Brownie the Elf joins the Browns at midfield, and it sees the Browns ruin a 99% win probability against the Jets. Not great. Welcome to the Factory of Sadness, Brownie the Elf. All right, Mukilteo Football Show will be back tomorrow, Monday Night Football.